Hello.
Pay attention, son.
This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the 26th of October, 2012. You are here listening to the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting on Spreaker.com. We have a program note for you. I say we, because if you're listening, then it's a we, and, well, okay. Anyway, program note. Our guest will not be here today, only because of the fact that something's going around, because I had it for a little while, wasn't feeling good last week. As you noticed, last Wednesday I didn't have a show. And a lot of people I know are not feeling very well this time of year. And don't give me this crap, well, you didn't take your flu shot. Well, I ain't taking none of them shots, okay? Because they're filled with mercury and all kinds of garbage, okay? Just go to your local pharmacy and ask for the insert for the flu shot. And go see what's in it. Your doctor doesn't even know what's in the flu shot. Anyway, so we're going to have a short show today. Well, I say that, but I'm trying to fill a half hour, okay? Lots of things going on. I know that some folks are, Halloween's coming up. And after that, we have the elections, okay? And we have, let's just say we I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I got to get out this week and go do some voting, but I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. And I know. People are saying, well, you don't have that much time. Yeah, I don't, and I know that, and I understand that. But when you're dealing with, two people of the same cloth, basically, bought off by Goldman Sachs and the elites and Monsanto and all that, well, you got to vote the lesser of two evils. They're both evil. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Here we are, the 26th of October, 2012. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. If you want to email us, you can. I say us. I keep thinking in that term. If you want to email the show, you can do that. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. If you want to email me personally here at the show, you can do that as well. You can go and email at freeamericaradio at USA.com. freeamericaradio at USA.com. Would love to hear from you. If you're listening and in the chat room, hey, bring something up. We'll talk about it. In the meantime, you can go to the website, check that out. If you're on the website, go to the right-hand side on the bottom. You'll see a book, Many Directions a Man. It's mine. You can also donate on the left-hand side of the webpage, down at the bottom, and help me keep the website up and the show going. You're listening to the views expressed on the Liberty and Freedom Network on Spreaker.com. Do you want liberty-minded radio? There's no other straightforward radio you will ever hear than The Angel Clark Show. Join Angel Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern at www.radiofreedom.us. That's The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern at radiofreedom.us. Come listen to The Sandy Fox Show. Playing a variety of music, including rock, pop, and country. The Sandy Fox Show is a production of the Force Radio Network. You can find her and all of the great FRN shows on Spreaker.com, Icedcast.org, and by searching for Force Internet Radio on TuneIn.com. You can also find great mobile apps on TuneIn.com to take the live shows and replays with you. The Force Radio Network. Real radio for real people. Want more entertainment value than your dollar can buy you at the movies? Listen to the Chris Top Program on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a journey into light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
This is the views expressed right here for the 26th of October 2012. How y'all doing? This is the Liberty and Freedom Network broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. If you're listening and you're in the chat room, say hi. Okay, that's what you need to do. I'd like you to, because I'd like to know who's here listening. You know what I mean? I get notifications from Spreaker that people are listening and people are following and all this, and I get all that information, and I'm wondering, okay, if 10 to 12 to 18 people are listening to my show, how come they're not in the chat room? Kind of curious about that one. Hey, this is Friday. We're going to lighten it up a little bit, but first of all, let's go over to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Let's check out the article there from InsideClimateNews.org. Texas Keystone XL protests show no sign of abating as arrest tally hits 32. People don't want the pipeline. People don't want the pipeline. Okay? They don't want that Keystone Pipeline. Why? I'll tell you why. They would be happier depending upon foreign oil and foreign reserves than they would even, they're stupid. Okay? Because here they are, they're protesting against something that's going to help them, and it's going to help us get off of foreign oil. And what are they doing? They're telling our government, no, we don't want you to get off of foreign oil. Okay, so you see what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. First of all, we have enough, and analysts and oil people have looked at what we have in the United States, including Alaska and including offshore California and near Baja Peninsula. And we have enough oil underneath the United States to last us another 1,000 years. But we have, thank you to, I believe it was President, I don't know which president it was. I don't even want to take a guess at that. But there was a president who went over to Saudi Arabia and said, we will pay you subsidies for you to give us the oil. Well, we screwed them in that deal, but they're making money anyway, because now what they're doing is they're now holding that over us. Okay? And when I say they're screwed, it's like they signed a deal with the devil. They're making all kinds of money, and they have all their things, and but inside they're just like, why did we do this? Because now they're screwing us. And it wasn't the United States that did it. It was the global elites that wanted all that money and wanted all the resources. But anyway, I'll get into that a little bit later. The thing that we have to understand right now, as far as our energy costs are concerned, and as far as our oil production is concerned, and all of that, first of all, you pull the oil out of the ground, it has to be refined. Now you got to build refineries, which in China, they're building them left and right. Boom. And over here, we can't get 2 built in 1 year. Get rid of the EPA and have just basic standards of environmental protection against the land, against the whatever. But then who's going to see it up? People are going, well, we can't get rid of the EPA. If we did, we'd still have garbage in the water. Well, okay, I'll give you that. Then let's do this. Let's tell the EPA you don't have any power whatsoever except what we give you, we the people give you, and you have to follow the law, period. Don't come up and ask Congress for more power, because it ain't going to happen. That's what we need to do. Well, in reality, EPA has power over a whole lot of things, considering that they want to close down several coal plants in Texas and around the country because, just because. The people that run this country don't want us to be dependent on ourselves. Okay, I'm for the Keystone Pipeline. I'm for drilling in the United States on top of that. I'm for solar energy and wind power. I'm for it. You just cannot have one over the other. I mean, it has been shown that wind power alone won't work. Solar power alone won't work. Both of those together kind of manage to get things done. But when you have all of the energy sources working together, yeah, you have a fantastic thing going on there. A little side note, I'm wondering why the water that goes into your house, why you are charged for water going into your house. I'm wondering why when you go to the convenience store down the road or go to some place where you got to air up your tires, why you got to pop a quarter in there to get some air. It should be free. You know? So, anyway, a little side note there. Our energy costs are skyrocketing. And President Obama said they would in his 2008 campaign. He said coal plants would eventually go bankrupt. And he said also that your energy costs would necessarily rise. So what kind of crap is that? Okay? What kind of crap do we have to put up with? Do we as Americans, we the people of the United States of America, have to go to Washington, D.C. and kick the ass of every single congressman and woman up there? Do we have to do that? Well, in a couple of weeks, we will. Okay? Period. You know, I tend to focus my attention when it comes to the resources that we have in America for energy. I tend to focus my resources on focus my attention on getting ourselves using our own resources and getting off of foreign oil and getting off of or becoming less dependent upon foreign countries for our power. Did you know that there are some power plants in northern Mexico that are supplying power to Texas? Did you know that? Did you know that it's also that way near Arizona? Did you know that southern Canada and northern North America or northern U.S. does the same thing? Okay, so I mean, what's this deal with the energy costs? I mean, why are they so high? In Texas alone, in the last 4 years, your rates have almost, if not completely, doubled or tripled in some places. Okay? Because of the fact that your coal plants are being shut down. Okay? So we need to focus our attention on our own soil. I know people in Montana that go to North Dakota and South Dakota, and they say the same thing. We got enough oil to last us hundreds of years. And some of that oil underneath North Dakota is into Canada, so we got to work with them. But it's under Utah, it's under Colorado, it's under Wyoming, and Russia, just in the last month I read somewhere, is going for deep well drilling. Can you say Gulf of Mexico? Now, they've done deep well drilling on land. They've succeeded in doing that. Now, recently, I think in Serbia or something, I don't know, someplace over there was an earthquake. And they blame it on the deep well drilling or whatever, because they were doing fracking along with that. And that sends chemicals into the groundwater and all this. It's a real mess. Can you do it cleanly? I don't think anything regarding oil is going to be clean. I really don't. I really don't. I do know that some of the reports that I've seen have been favorable in regards to drilling in America. Now, should we do that? Of course we should. I believe in self-sufficiency. I believe in hey, I'm with Sarah Palin on that one. Drill, baby, drill, Let's put the augers in the soil of the United States, Now, there are some downsides. One being these environmental groups. Oh, you don't want to drill there. There's, a bug that is almost extinct. Excuse me? A bug is a bug. What we need to do is we need to stop feeding into the propaganda from these green sources and these environmental groups, because most of them are bought off by big business and big agra and all this, and they all work together, okay? They all work together. I mean, there's really nothing, there was years ago when I was living in California, there was an apartment complex that was firebombed in one section of the apartment complex as it was being built. Nobody was there. Nobody was living there yet. And it was done by ELF, Environmental Liberation Front. And basically, come to find out, you heard it in the news, and they were looking for people, and yada, 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 and then pretty much the story got swept under the rug. Years later, I realize, and come to find out that, yeah, they were just paid provocateurs to try to get people upset over certain things, to try to do something that was, it was all propaganda, basically, is all it was. And then when you look at the group Anonymous, I mean, anybody can call themselves anonymous, but read the writings of early Anonymous, or hear those videos that they put out, and then look at the newer ones. You can tell which ones are government propaganda and ones that are legit. Okay? Seriously? Much like the videos of Osama bin Laden a few years back that researchers found out, of the alternative media, researchers found out that it was done with the assistance of the CIA and the State Department, because the video had certain backgrounds that were identical to certain other backgrounds. And when they go through the tape, there's, if you know anything about video, there's an audio channel, there's a video channel. They would look through that. There's certain binary things that you can look at. I know I have an electronics background, and there's fingerprints all over the video. You can, if anybody that knows anything about that, you can find out where it came from, who did it, what machine it was done on, that kind of thing. I mean, yeah, so it really, you get to the point where you cannot believe anything anymore when it comes from the government. Well, look at what President Obama did. I'm giving $500 million to Solyndra. Where are they? They're gone. The newest one, I can't remember their name, the newest company that had gotten investment money from us, the taxpayers, through the federal government, is now going bankrupt. So, don't believe anything coming out of Washington, D.C. Don't believe a word from anybody coming out of Washington, D.C. There might be, 10 people in that whole Congress that really tell the truth, but other than that, none of them. None of them do. I always like to joke around and say, you know how to tell if a politician's lying? It's when he's talking. So anyway, we're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour here in a few. And I want to say that if there was anything that we needed to pay attention to, I would say pay attention to these politicians that say we need to create jobs. Well, President Obama said the same thing. We want jobs. People want jobs. We're going to create jobs. Folks, the only people that have ever in the history of governments that created jobs were communist, dictatorial, socialist governments. It's you and I, the entrepreneur, that is going to create a business and get so successful within 2, 3, 4, 5 years that we're going to have to hire somebody. Okay? And it just, we can do this. We need to get rid of both parties. They don't know what they're doing. They have absolutely no clue what they're doing. We need to vote on people. We need to vote for people on merit, because none of the parties know what they're doing, and they have ulterior motives. And they're bought off by the same, globalist corporations. Big Agri, Big Pharma, whatever. I mean, name it. They're bought off. I didn't think they were many years ago, but then after researching both parties, yeah, they're getting money from the same people. So it's kind of like the gun runners in the Old West that went and stole guns from armories, and stole guns someplace and went and sold them to not only the the military, but also the Indians. So so anyway, hey. This is the views expressed right here. If you want to email us, you can. It's really cool. I'd like to hear from you. You can email me or email the show at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. And you can email me personally at the show at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. This is The Views Expressed, broadcasting on Spreaker.com.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hoedown. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
Hey, this is the Views Expressed right here for the 26th of October, 2012. Yes, our guest will not be showing up today. People have been having all sorts of health problems recently. I am just now, as of today, getting over my sinus infection. It's really bad. My ears are so plugged up. I'm hearing some really bassy stuff in my left ear, and when I'm talking, I hear my left ear go like it's sucking in and sucking out. So there's something going on, and I have no idea what it is. I do know, as you can tell, as I'm talking, my sinuses are all messed up. That's my point. I'm sorry for getting gross, but we're going to have a laid-back show today. A little program note. We may have the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we will have the phone line open. So if you have Skype, you can go to contact on your Skype, whether it's an app on your iPhone or on your computer, and you can put in ULC Rev 62, ULCREV 62, and I will accept it, and you can get on the show. Or if you don't have Skype, you can call. You can call 775-241-4749. That's 775-241-4749. And if you want to email the show, Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, you can do that as well. You can email the show at grabbagshow@usa.com. grabbagshow@usa.com. And there is a website associated with Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. And as soon as I because I forgot what it was. I can tell you here in a minute as soon as I sign into it. You know, you have one of those days where it's just like, hey, I can't seem to sign into the account. But anyway, go to Spreaker.com. Go look up Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. And you will hopefully find it. For some reason, I can't get into the site. Couple of things I want to mention here, and that is when we, this is an election year, so when we go and vote, how do we vote? We usually vote with our conscience, do we not? I mean, we go by that old false sense of security and say, vote lesser of two evils, eh? Well, let me tell you something. It ain't working. Voting the lesser of two evils does not work. Why? Well, two evils, yeah, they're both evil. And you're not gonna you're gonna have the same problems over and over and over. I'm still trying to get into the site so I can tell you what's on it. So when we vote, and we vote our conscience, what happens when the person we vote for doesn't win? Okay? Do we get all pissed off? Do we say, well, I didn't vote for that guy. Okay? Well, I'll tell you what. If you voted and your guy didn't win, what's that tell you? Well, I voted for the wrong guy, right? Well, no. Here's what I'm talking about. Take a look at early voting, which is right now in most areas. Take a look at it. Now, first of all, that should all be illegal. Okay? Now, the only reason why they have early voting is because of the fact that there are precincts that can't count these things, quickly enough to get the numbers in. There should not be any early voting whatsoever. If you're voting, and here's my point, if you're voting on November 6th and the inauguration isn't until January 20th, you have that much time to count the votes. Okay, I'm sorry. If your guy didn't win, or if you vote and the counting comes up to, January 19th the following year, and your guy wins by 100 votes, then that's the person that should be in office. The other thing we need to do is, and I know some people say reform the Electoral College. No, get rid of it. It's you and I that vote, the electoral. You know what the Electoral College is? All that is a clearinghouse for votes, for percentages of districts that voted for whoever was up to be voted on. Okay? That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay? And some people say, well, why should we get rid of the Electoral College? Why? They're there to help. No, they're not. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have certain companies that take our votes from these electronic voting machines and count them outside of the United States. Highly illegal. You have Tag Romney, who owns a company that puts these electronic voting machines into these polling places. Okay? So, and some people have already said that when they voted for Romney, it came up Obama. It's all corrupt, folks. Every last bit of it. Every last bit of it is corrupted. Now, I heard somebody the other day say, or ask, should we go back to the hand vote, the cards? You just mark on the card what it is, not the punch holes or anything. No. Should we go and like you did at the assessment tests in high school? Remember those? You got to put that black mark in that box. That I heard somebody say we need to do that. Why not? Why not? If you happen to be in a chat room here on Spreaker, go ahead and pop in your thoughts on that. Why shouldn't we go back to the paper ballot? And would it be a good idea to, since we're all voting on November 6th, is it a good idea to go right up to January 19th of the following year to count those votes? And another question, should we get rid of early voting on everything? Okay? But anyway, By the way, tonight we may have Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. 8 p.m. Pacific. I said 7 earlier. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. And it is, you can go to the website at grabbagshow.wix, wix.com/talk show. That's grabbagshow.wix.com/talk show. Check out the website. We haven't worked on it for a while, so you may see, some old stuff on there. You might see some stuff that, like the photos and stories and other things we have on there. It says we are working hard to get these things to put here, to get things to put here. Keep checking back. You never know what you're going to see, which is true. We have blogs. And it says the title explains it all. We just haven't written anything yet. Do you have things you want us to take a look at? Email us. Use the link below. So we have that as well. You can contact us. You can meet the hosts. And, yeah. So there you go. You go to grabbagshow.wix.com/talk show. Check that out. We will, if it's not going to be us tonight, we will be here at some point. Somebody will be here tonight. Okay. It's one of us. But anyway, we're going to take a little, just a little 2-minute break, and we're going to, we're going to take a little 2-minute break. We'll be back right after this. This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. It is the 26th of October, 2012. We have a short show today because our wonderful guest was ill, not feeling very well. Anyway, not a big deal. I'm just so laid back that, it's okay. If you want to be a guest on the show, email us here at Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. And give a little shout out to the boys over there at KTRNradio.com. over there with Jay Towers and Brian Keller. Also want to give a shout out to the one and only, not the one and only, but to the good old boys over at Mobster Boss Radio. Yeah, JD, Sonny, Lester, Guy, all those folks over there. You want to go check out a show? You think? I'll tell you what. Little disclaimer here, okay? If you don't like a show, you don't have to listen to it. If you don't like my show, you don't have to listen to it. You know, that's just the way it is. I mean, you know, if I'm sure you channel surf when you watch TV, so there you go. But Mobster Boss Radio, JD, Sonny, Lester, and Guy over there, mobsterbossradio.com. Also want to tell you that KTRNradio.com with Jay Towers has a show over there called That Radio Show. It's awesome. I've heard it. I've been on it a few times. And I got to tell you, some very interesting folks over there. We shall return right after this. Are you looking for an alternative to your normal everyday radio? Well, check out KTRNradio.com. Jay Towers and Brian Keller bring you everything that you ever wanted to know, and even if you didn't want to know it. Go check out That Radio Show with your host, Jay Towers, and That VK Show with your host, Brian Keller, on KTRNradio.com. What's the word on the street? There's only one place you can get that question answered. Mobster Boss Radio. How do you deal with people? Your questions and more will be answered on Mobster Boss Radio. Come join JD and Sonny and Lester on Mobster Boss Radio and find out what they think about the world around them. Go to www.mobsterbossradio.com.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Do you wear your sunglasses at night? Well, maybe you do some other crazy things too. Why not add The Sandy Fox Show to your list? You can find me on Spreaker.com, Icecast.org, and TuneIn.com. Fox out.
You're listening to the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. This is the Views Expressed. Yes, right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Yes. This is the 26th of October 2012. If you want to email us, you can at Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and the Freedom Network at USA.com. It is an election year. I'm not going to ask you who you're going to vote for. You're going to vote for somebody, right? Anyway, let's wander on over to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Lots of pictures up there. Just all sorts of symbolism. Oh, by the way, a great chart that shows which organic companies donated to Proposition 37. All the companies on the right, it's a picture, are the ones I'm definitely buying products from. This person says from Health in Lights on Facebook. Keep on going down. Police arrest 60-year-old woman speaking at city council meeting. That's from Los Angeles. .cbslocal.com. Go check that out. And I got State Department Memorandum 200, Population Control and Food as a Weapon. Also, I have a flashback of Alex Jones' classic interview with Dr. Paul Cosi, whatever, HARP Program Director. It's from June 24th, 2008. So check that one out too as well. And earlier I talked about our tax dollars going to being invested in companies. Yeah. 21 failed energy companies backed by the Obama administration. When will we learn? Ammonix, Solar Trust of America, Bright Source, Solyndra, Ecotality, SunPower, Unisolar, Spectra Watt, Johnson Controls. Yeah, all money, all of our tax money into these companies that failed. Good question. When will we learn? It's just that way. I have a picture up there from Glenn Beck. GlennBeck.com. He says, today officially is the day that I no longer recognize my country. You can go check out the archives of the show earlier today, which he said that, and he's not happy. I myself have gone back and forth, and I'm going to say this because I really feel that it's necessary to really... It's necessary to understand, okay, because I've been researching and going into, looking into all this government stuff and the shadow government and all of these things. Myself personally, I don't recognize my country anymore. And here's why. We're supposed to be standing on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights as the rule of law. We're not supposed to be legislating from the Supreme Court bench. We do because there's liberals on there and some conservatives. But overall, this is not the country our grandfathers and great-grandfathers and relatives fought in military for and probably fought and died for. This is not the country that we recognize as a united country, as a United States. I don't recognize it. I'm with Glenn Beck. I don't recognize it. I'll even go one further than that and say this. I do not recognize nor do I accept the current president in the White House as being the leader of this country. I don't. Why? Duh, can you see what he's done in the last 4 years? Some people were saying, well, he did good. He did make a promise that he would get, health care passed. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid and all sorts of other backhanded deals. And nobody, people are saying, yeah, the Obamacare, that's based on Romney Care out of Massachusetts. Really? How about 1994? Hillary Care. Hello? Bill Clinton, remember that? She went to Congress to try to get that passed, to get socialized medicine and all that. Remember John Kerry coming out in 2000, I think it was 2000, that showed you a chart of all of the stuff. Hello, it's not Romney Care, it's not Obamacare, it's socialized medicine. Everybody's saying, well, socialized medicine, it works in England and Canada. No, it doesn't. You wait a year and a half or more for major surgery and possibly die in waiting for it. It doesn't work, people. It's done. It doesn't work, period. End of sentence. Enough said. Okay? We have a Constitution and a Bill of Rights that we need to stand on. And that's just the way it is. It's the top of the hour. I'm going to take another break. I know the phone rang and I took a break, and there you go. So anyway, be back. Are you an actor looking for a place to promote your work? Do you do voiceover work and want others to hear what you do? Go to Eastland Entertainment and get your work seen and heard. Eastland Entertainment is your one-stop shop in the Reno, Nevada area for all of your entertainment needs. Eastland Entertainment will promote your work for you. Eastland Entertainment also produces original short films and radio plays through Eastland Radio Films. For more information, contact them at eastlandentertainment@usa.com or go to the Eastland Radio Films website at eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms. That's eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms. Are you looking for an alternative to your normal everyday radio? Well, check out KTRNradio.com. Jay Towers and Brian Keller bring you everything that you ever wanted to know, and even if you didn't want to know it. Go check out That Radio Show with your host, Jay Towers, and That BK Show with your host, Brian Keller, on KTRNradio.com.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Do you wear your sunglasses at night? Well, maybe you do some other crazy things too. Why not add The Sandy Fox Show to your list? You can find me on Spreaker.com, Icecast.org, and TuneIn.com. Fox out.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network for the 26th of October, 2012. 5 more days before Halloween. Ooh. Hey, we got my other co-host on the show right now. Yes, Laura from the Unnamed Show.
Hi, everybody.
Holla.
Holla.
Holla. I like big butts, and I cannot like... Never mind, I'm not going to go there.
Me too, that's why you and I are such good friends.
Hey, we're going to go a whole different direction in this. I usually talk about, anti-New World Order and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to switch gears this hour and go in a completely different direction. And talk about a little bit about Halloween.
Woohoo!
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, and just my PSA, my public service announcement is, parents, take the candy and cut that puppy up and find out what's in it. I mean, it's not
they say that a lot of that is, the razor blades and apples and all that. Most of that is urban legend.
Right.
But, I mean, it doesn't hurt to be, safe. I mean, anything that was open, my mom would throw away.
Yeah.
Unless she knew the people, like they baked us cookies because we knew them our whole lives. That was different. But other than that, my mom would pitch that stuff.
Yeah. I get kind of worried when they hand me a fruitcake on Halloween. I'm like, what? Wait a minute, isn't that supposed to be for Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I have a new... What the heck is this? I have a new contact for my Skype. Isn't that weird? Okay. Anywho, oh my God. Halloween. How did it start? When did it start? All that. But I was, we can go into that on the Unnamed Show because it is coming up. But
I love Halloween. You know that.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I think parents get a little fanatical about Halloween with their kids. Just a little.
What do you mean?
Like dressing them up like really, it's like, oh, we got to go all out and do that. And they get really, really elaborate with the costumes.
Yeah, and then they make the kid wear a coat. Nobody can see the costume anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it tells me a lot about the parents. It's like, did they not have a childhood?
Not necessarily. They could be like me. I mean, my mom absolutely loved Halloween. That was her favorite.
Oh, yeah.
So she'd go all out. So that could be what it is. They could have just had such a happy time in Halloween when they were kids that they want their kids to experience that.
Yeah. My mom doesn't do it so much now because the grandkids aren't around, but she used to just, deck the house out with Halloween stuff inside and out. And she used to do that, and she did that around President's Day and around Christmas.
Yeah, my mom, too, because my mom didn't have a great childhood, so my mom did a lot of that for us, trying to make up for her childhood.
Yeah.
So in her case, you'd be right.
Oh, yeah. I just think that you've got... One year I went out with some people, and it was been quite a while ago, and I see it now in some pictures and other things and videos where people are taking their dogs out trick-or-treating. What is up with that?
There is a big market for dog costumes.
Oh, my God.
Some people even dress up their cats. I prefer to live.
Yeah.
So my cat is going to be costumeless.
So your cat does have a costume already. It's called Fur.
Called being my baby. Now, when he was a little itty bitty kitten, because I said I got him when he was super duper young.
Yeah.
He I for some reason got a sample in the mail of a preemie diaper.
Oh my God.
And I put it on him. I made a big enough spot for his tail, because he's got a super duper long tail, you know. I made a spot for his tail and stuff, and he was not a happy kitty.
No.
And, my then boyfriend was, that's mean. Why did you do that? And so I looked at the cat. I'm like, it was Daddy. Daddy made Mama do it. So he got mad at my ex.
Yeah, and your cat does talk, by the way.
Yes, he does.
He shows his disappointment in things really well.
Yes, he says clear words. And for those wondering, I have a black cat, so I have a built-in Halloween decoration.
Yeah, exactly, all year round.
And he's awesome. And, black cats don't steal your souls, they steal your heart.
Yes, exactly. I saw that picture on Facebook. That is cool. When I was a kid, my brother and I used to, we had this public address system. We had this thing, and he would sit in the car with a microphone and have the speakers outside and everything all hooked up and everything. And he would scare kids as they came to the door, going, "Don't come to the house," stuff like that. That was so fun. And it's amazing we get older, and I don't know about you, and I know that's your favorite time of year, but when I was younger, it was more like, oh my God, I'm going to go get candy, I'm scared, and all this. And now that I'm older, I look at that stuff and go, my God, I was such a nerd.
Well,
when I was younger.
Of course I love the candy, but I like the pageantry, the getting dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
the idea of it. Well, a Native American mother, grew up in a haunted house, so that was like every day for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know when it went from, we're having fun to let's go out and spend all kinds of money.
Everything happens. I mean, big business is going to do that. If they can make a profit off of, like, you don't have this holiday out there that we had here this past weekend. It's called Sweetest Day.
Yeah.
People out here in the Midwest, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's basically a poor man's Valentine's Day. You're not expected to spend hundreds of dollars on Valentine's Day here.
Yeah.
Or on Sweetest Day. But it started off with a candy maker in Ohio, basically, giving leftover candy to the less fortunate, just picking a day and doing it. It had nothing to do with greeting cards or candy or flowers or anything like that. But of course, the greeting card companies hear about it and they have to try to take it over.
Yeah, exactly. We went through Walmart, and we saw the cards, and I saw maybe, how long those card aisles are, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe half or three-quarters of one side was nothing but Halloween cards. I'm just like, I think I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, well, I've actually gotten one Halloween card. A friend of mine sent me a Zombie Kitty Halloween card last year, but it was a combo Halloween birthday card.
Yeah.
I'm a zombie fanatic. Anybody who knows me knows that. Yeah. And I also love my black kitty. I'm a
Yeah.
dog person, but I love my black kitty.
Yeah.
And he sent, a friend of mine sent me that, and he also sent me a magnet on the inside of it that said, "I heart zombies."
Oh, my God.
That's what I do. I mean, my first date with Mark, instead of candy and flowers, he brought me a zombie movie.
Oh, God. A B-rated zombie movie.
Oh, yeah. Children shouldn't play with dead things.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry.
That's, yeah.
It was what started my great love for zombies, though. And then when I watched it, I'm like, I cannot believe this movie scared me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's just pitiful, Laura.
Yeah, well, and I as a kid I watched The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I thought that scared the hell out of me, but I look at it now going, oh my God.
No doubt. Okay, it looks like Uncle Harold before he shaved.
Yeah, exactly. You guys don't get it out there, but you can go to the website. Zombo is Zombo. Yeah, I am. He knows.
We don't get the TV show, but we can go online.
Yeah, and it's just, he is such a card, man. He takes all the public domain movies, the old horror movies, and plays them, and it's fantastic. You got zombu.com. It's just amazing. When I was growing up in California, I saw this guy named Bob Wilkins, and he was a late night horror film person, and that's when I got my taste of Dracula and werewolf and Frankenstein and all that.
Yeah, my kind of thing. I think my mom always decorated for Thanksgiving, Halloween back before anybody did. I mean, if she was still alive, she'd be so thrilled with the amount of decorations that she could get now.
Oh yeah. I'm amazed that Halloween and Christmas are like the two best sellers of the year. Years ago, I never, I looked around going, wow, the only time I looked forward to was Christmas. Give me presents, and then, watching.
For me, all of them, because my mom made such a big deal out of everything.
I mean,
father and her mother died when she was young, so.
Yeah. But I'm looking at like the commercialization of it in the last, 25, 30 years, and I remember watching The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I remember that. That was so cool. And now it's like, kids are too involved with, their cell phones, their iPods, their iPads, their computers. Oh, I don't want to watch TV, But then when it comes around the night of Halloween, they're out. Yeah, Bill, let me get a costume on. Let me go out.
Only because they want the candy.
Yeah, exactly. I think the last time I went out when I was a kid, I think I was like 12 or 13. I think that was the last time I went out.
Well, I've lived in an apartment now, by myself basically since 2002. I mean, before that I'd lived in a couple of apartments, but since 2002, I've not had a single trick-or-treater. I lived about 5.5 years in my last apartment, and almost 5.5 here. And in all the time, I've never gotten a single trick-or-treater. And I've bought candy a couple of times, like when I first moved here and then when I first moved to the other apartment. It just kind of broke my heart because I like to see the kids. That's why I went to the my complex here had the yearly Halloween party.
Oh, yeah.
Today, and I went to that and won again for, won best all-around costume. Last year, I won most original because I went as a cow last year.
Yeah.
This year, I was basically a sparkly witch, which is gothic makeup and black sparkly shirt and a witch's hat.
Yeah.
But I felt bad. This little kid was probably 2, dressed as like a little dinosaur, and he looked at me and he looked like he was going to cry. It looked like I scared him, and that would have just killed me.
Yeah.
But he seemed okay. As soon as I smiled, he seemed okay.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I don't need a mask for Halloween. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, it's amazing how Halloween came about too. It was just it's Samhain. It was one of the Wiccan holidays.
I've heard it pronounced differently, but
yeah. It's spelt Samhain. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. And a lot of my Christian friends, and I was going to church. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I was going to church in California, and the church would have Harvest Day. And I'm like, Harvest Day, isn't it? What? Well, we don't celebrate Halloween. That's, all this. I'm just like, really?
That's Satan.
Yeah, do you actually know the background of Halloween? Do you know that it wasn't evil? Hello.
I know. I'm just saying that's what they say.
Oh, yeah.
At my church, on the Sunday before Halloween, we were encouraged to wear our costumes to church. They let us do that.
Yeah. It's amazing how people get so wrapped up in this, and I'm going to say it, fear-mongering,
Yep.
And a lot of my Christian friends that I knew when I was going to church said, well, we just do it for the kids. We don't want them influenced by evil. And I'm like, excuse me? Do they play video games at home? Yeah, but...
Right.
Yeah. Do they go to public school? There's evil for you. But yeah, these people were just so... I could not understand why they weren't more educated in terms of what, the holiday was and how it all came about. I mean, it was amazing. They just, it's evil. Boom, slap a label on it and go from there. And I'm like, oh my God. But, yeah, it was... Back when I was in California, it was that way. It was constantly, parents are going, oh, you don't want to do this. You want to go out during the day just before the sun goes down because there's some crazy people out there. And I'm like, okay, well, okay.
Well, here we don't have a choice. Usually each city has an ordinance of the time of that you can do it. So.
Yeah. Now, in our last...
choice here. Generally, it's usually 6 to about 8, depending on like the outdoor, sunlight. Sometimes it's like 5:30 to 6:30. It's only like an hour or two. It's not a super long time.
Yeah. Now, in our last apartment where we used to live, we we started getting them around dusk, around dinner time, around there, and then. It was dark. It started getting dark. Then we had some more, and then about probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, nobody showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that on the safety side of it, I think going out just at dusk or with parents after they get off work, whatever, is great. I don't, when I was a kid,
it's a good idea because of idiots in cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of them don't pay attention.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
I know, speaking as somebody who's almost been hit a few times when I used to trick or treat, we're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When I used to still trick or treat.
Yeah.
I'm still young at heart,
Yeah, me
Maybe
too.
not in body or in mind, but in heart.
My mind and my heart are really young. My body's going, dude, chill.
Yeah. Well, that's because men age in dog years.
Exactly. So that means I'm, what, 7?
No. You have to multiply 7 times your age here, so you're 350.
No, oh my God.
For those wondering, that means he's 50 years old. 50. And he also has another anniversary this month, too.
Yes, coming up. Yeah.
25 years sober, people.
This month. Yeah, at some point. I just call it the whole month. So I think it was like the 15th or something like that, but I don't know. It's the whole month.
I couldn't remember the date. I just figured because we're on air, I would mention it. So,
oh, yeah. 25 years clean and sober. People
very
are saying,
proud of you.
Oh, yeah. People are going, well, can you, like, have wine or something? Well, yeah, occasionally. That's not going to kill me.
Well,
but,
yeah, because he didn't do the whole 12-step thing. He did the whole quit cold turkey type crazy person thing.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. There's some great programs out there. There's Narcanon, there's AA, there's NA, there's all these programs out there.
For you, because that doesn't work for everybody.
It doesn't work for everybody. With me, cold turkey, I going there, and I figured it out, too. Going to these programs, in my view, from me, I would go to these, or wouldn't go, but I didn't want to go because of the fact that I would think, geez, I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like that later on, as when I got into my 20th year of sobriety, I thought about it going, wait a minute, there's some awesome programs out there. And I've talked to several people who ran some programs like that, and they said the same thing. It's like, it doesn't work for everybody. And everybody has a different view of it. And they were totally understandable about that. And I'm just like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
What works for one may not work for another.
Exactly. So me, cold turkey, I went through like 6 years of just shaking and going nuts and eating candy and just going, and I asked my dad, I said, why am I drinking a lot of Pepsi and eating a lot of like candy bars? He goes, well, because the alcohol was sweet, and your body's craving that. And I'm like, oh,
well,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, everybody handles things a little bit differently.
Oh,
like
yeah.
My grandmother quit smoking cold turkey the day before her birthday in 1977 because she had throat cancer.
Yeah.
And she basically had, she was very soft-spoken, but then she had to have the top of her larynx scraped because she had cancerous polyps on her larynx because of smoking. After that, she had a very raspy, manly kind of sounding voice.
Like that.
Right, and then she, like I said, she quit cold turkey the day before her birthday in 1977, and then she passed away in 1990. I mean, who knew how long she would have lived had she not quit smoking, though?
Yeah, exactly. And Diana's dad died or passed away at 59 of COPD. And my aunt died years ago of cancer from smoking. My other aunt died of...
My mother was 38 years old, and she died from lung cancer, and she was a heavy smoker.
Yeah, my other aunt died of...
I lost my mom because of cigarettes. That's why, it breaks my heart that my niece and nephew smoke. But my nephew, he's been working really hard to quit. He's tried the patches, he's tried the gum, he's tried the vapor cigarettes. He had surgery this week, and he's...
Yeah.
Right now he doesn't have the craving for any of that, thankfully.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of my other aunts died of emphysema and all of that, and I had an uncle who died of lung cancer, and my mom had breast cancer, and
my dad had heart problems, angina, and everything, but he would have been better had he quit smoking.
Yeah, yeah, and we go from Halloween to smoking. That was kind of weird, but yeah, that's okay.
Well,
we can go anywhere.
We're talking about candy and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and Halloween scary stuff and what's scary is in cancer and smoking.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I told somebody...
we can get back on Halloween things.
Yeah, I was telling somebody once about who happened to be smoking at the time. We were sitting in a coffee shop, and I told him, I said, I believe that all tobacco companies need to, get rid of all their tobacco and grow food for starving people in America. He looked at me and he goes, you know how much a pack of cigarettes would be if that happened? I said, yeah, they'd be like $20 a pack. And And we talked about that. No matter what you would do to try to, get rid of smoking, the diehard smokers will do everything they can to get a pack of cigarettes.
Well, yeah. A traditional pack of cigarettes is $5 or $6 a pack or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, and you have these people, they choose to smoke instead of putting gas in their cars to work or to put food on the table for their kids.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't understand putting something on fire in my face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I was younger, I was doing some really stupid stuff. I mean, hey, transparency here. I smoked dope, smoked marijuana. I did all that.
I did too.
Did the whole 9 yards.
All it did was give me some munchies, and I'm an overeater. I don't need help feeding my fat face.
Exactly.
I can do that all on my own. Like I said, I won a whole big old bucket of candy from that Halloween thing, and it's in the other room.
Yeah. I used to drink like a freaking fish, man. Give me a bottle of Jack Daniels and we'll go from there. But that's what I used to do. But I was like 17, 18, 19 years old when I was doing that, and I was hardcore. I mean, I was, I cannot even begin to tell you the things I did. But yeah, it was stupid, and smokers are the same way. I told my mom in the early or late 70s, just before I graduated high school, I said, you have to stop smoking, Mom. You're gonna freaking die,
Well, the lamest excuse that I hear for people, especially women,
I
don't want to gain weight. Okay. You can lose weight if you just walk around. You don't got to stuff crap in your face just because you're not smoking, okay?
Exactly.
You don't. Get up and go for a walk. Take your dog for a walk. They'd appreciate it. Go outside and play hula hoop with your kids.
Yeah.
You can do that stuff if you don't smoke and you're not hacking up a kidney.
Exactly. I was growing up as a kid. I'd walk out in the living room and look like L.A., man. Half the room would be filled with smoke. Well, you've
same
been
here.
there.
I mean, I grew up knowing what cigarette smoke smelled because my mom and dad and my grandma, when she lived with us before she quit, they all smoked so much. And I know what a smoker's cough sounds like. My nephew just turned 23 2 days after my birthday.
Yeah.
And he has the worst smoker's cough I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So much so that, his doctor has him on an asthma inhaler.
Oh, geez.
Because of his cigarettes.
Yeah.
And, he's overweight and everything else, and I worry about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might like him or something.
Just a little. I know women who said that, the lame well, I'm going to gain weight. You know what they did? They looked at how much a carton of cigarettes was, and they'd be buying that every other week. They took that money, put it aside, went to the gym, quit smoking, started eating healthy, and my God, they're much better today.
Well, they're not smoking. A lot of times they'll eat healthier.
Oh, yeah. And it causes, along with marijuana, from what I've heard, causes premature aging. This is what tobacco does.
My mother was beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but at 38, she looked older than that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Mom, don't haunt me.
And it also it pulls the moisture out of the skin and just really makes you look bad. Okay, there's no elasticity. Yeah,
which is why I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm 43 years old.
Oh yeah.
Nobody believes me.
Yeah.
Because I don't smoke. Yes, I'm working on my diet and a lot of that other type stuff. But people find out that I'm 43, and I've had to show ID to people. They're like, "No, you're not." Why am I going to say it if I'm not?
Exactly. We were.
You know many women who are going to say, "Oh yeah, no, who are 21. Oh no, I'm 43." No. You want people to think you're older when you're young, or when you're younger.
Yeah.
The older you get, you do not want people to think. No, but I look young for my age. I got carded for NyQuil.
Oh my God.
I was sick, and I'm like, and then she was kind of witchy. Yeah, see, the Halloween thing, witchy.
Yeah.
But then I told her, I said, if I wasn't sick, I'd kiss you. And she just laughed.
Oh, my God.
Because she said, well, you're obviously under 30, so I have to ask. I'm like, obviously under 30. Okay, I love you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love you. Okay, have a nice day. It's okay.
Love you, bye-bye.
Yeah, I know. I look in the mirror, and I'm going, I'm 50?
Yeah.
I am getting a little bit of the lines around my eyes.
Well, those are smile lines, though, because you laugh a lot.
Oh,
when I start to get those, I don't have those yet. I don't have smile wrinkles, or or the ones around my eyes. When I do, those are going to be okay because I've earned those because I'm a goof and I like to make people laugh. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, you begged me to stop because you're about ready to pee. You know,
exactly.
the jokes I've told.
Yeah. So
because I prefer the real corny jokes that make you go, oh.
Yeah, but I'm 50 and and we went to Sizzler, which you guys don't have one out there, but
we used to. I know what it is.
Yeah, and the lady goes, "Yeah, well, I'll give you the discount." What? And she thought I was 60. She got really embarrassed. I said, "No problem, don't." It's like, come on, I think I'm old. Come on, you know.
Well, my brother is only 45. He'll be 46 in a few weeks. Jeez. But back 3 or 4 years ago, when he was like 40, 41, 42, he was at school because he went back to school, and he was showing pictures of his kids, and somebody's like, "Oh, are those your grandkids?"
Oh my God.
He's pretty gray, and he's like, "No, they're my children." And then they're, you had kids later? He's like, "I'm 42." And they're like, "Oh."
Yeah, I know. People shut up really because they get embarrassed, But my hair used to be, we found some pictures, or I did, and I showed Diana where my hair was totally brown, and I had my beard and the whole 9 yards. And Diana looked at that going, "You look a hell of a lot better now than you did then." And I'm like, well, okay.
Well, that picture your niece put up, wow.
Yeah. Holy crap. I remember that. That was 85.
I may have laughed a little.
Yeah, because you see how nasty I look with that beard?
You look you did look a little mangy, I'll admit it.
I was mangy. I was really mangy. And I had just had my haircut then, too, if I remember correctly.
One of them?
Yeah. Now, my hair is really long, halfway down my back, and it's white. Okay.
Yeah. Get a haircut, hippie.
I know. It's like, I know. I put my picture up on Facebook on my page, and people are going, "Oh my God, get a haircut." No, I'm not.
No, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm fine. I told Diana, I said, "Well, I'll color my hair." She goes, "Oh no, don't do that. I won't recognize you."
Yeah, she will.
I'm just like, oh hush. But yeah, it's getting older is not. It's not a bad thing,
No,
it really isn't. Getting
I'm
older.
I'm perfectly happy with my 40s.
Oh yeah, I'm happy. I'm grateful to be alive.
I'm much more content than I thought that I would be.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew me, when you and I have been friends for 8 years, so I was still my, mid-30s when I met you.
Yeah.
And that I had a hard time with turning,
yeah.
had a hard time with turning, the big 40, but I'm actually okay with it now.
Yeah. When I turned 50 this year just a few months ago, and I thought, I had a harder time turning 30 than I turned 50, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, for me, turning 30 was rough for me as well. It was. I'll admit it.
Yeah, it was really strange, and I thought about that. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm turning 50. It was harder for me to turn 30. What the hell?
Just because when you turn 30, in your 20s, you're still young. You're fresh out of college. You have your whole life ahead of you. When you're 30s, if you're not already having children, people are like, oh, he's an elderly bachelor.
Yeah.
Or, the woman, oh, she's a spinster. Yeah, bite me.
Yeah. Hey, in the South, man, if you're not married and got 2 kids by the time you're 15, you're a spinster. I mean, come on.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I'm teasing for those people in the South. I'm just teasing, okay?
And it doesn't mean marrying your cousin.
Exactly, yeah. Hey, I passed up the
I
bottom.
have Southern relatives. I'm picking on them. So
Yeah,
people don't send me letters.
I've got Northern relatives.
Yes, you do. Mine up in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, I passed the bottom of the hour and forgot to do the break for the bottom of the hour for views expressed. Sorry, folks. So guess what? We'll wait for about, I don't know, till another 6 minutes, and we'll go from there. So not a big deal. But yeah, it's like, as I look at Halloween, and I look this time of year, and Thanksgiving's coming up after that, and then Christmas and all that, And I know I'm not getting any younger. I'm going to be like, and time flies, really. It just, man, you get a certain age and you're like, what? I just graduated high school last week. Why am I turning 50?
That's what it felt like when I went to my 20th reunion. I'm like, no, I'm not 30, because at the time I was 38. I just turned 38.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a possible way that I'm 38.
Yeah. And when you look around at kids and you look at your friends that you knew from high school or knew later or whatever, and you look at them and you're going, you're a grandma?
That's my brother and I just talked about that today. That people, I am, like I said, 43, and a lot of people I graduated high school with are now grandparents.
Yeah.
I had a friend, though, one of my friends in high school, she was a grandmother at when she was 28.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, she had a baby when she was 14.
Yeah.
And then when her baby was 14, the baby had a baby.
Baby had a baby.
I gave my friend a hard time. I'm like, you're going to be the only grandma at the reunion.
Oh, jeez.
I won't repeat the profanity that she used in the name she called me.
Let's just say the C word was in there at some point.
It probably was, and I probably deserved it.
But yeah, people ask me if I have kids, and I say no, but I wouldn't mind adopting. I wouldn't mind doing that at all.
People assume that I don't want them because I'm 43 and don't have them, and that's just not the case.
No.
I want them, as much as I want to be married again, I want to be a mother even more than I want to be married.
Oh, yeah. I've known...
It just hasn't worked out for me yet that way.
The oddest thing is through my whole life, I've always been, around older people and, stuff like that, and I've learned a great deal. But
you're an old soul.
What?
You're an old soul. That's
I'm
right.
an old soul,
You're attracted to older people. And I don't mean that as an insult.
No. Yeah, that's...
You are. You're an old soul. And you're attracted to people who are older because you have kind of more in common with them and you like their stories and you like to learn their history.
Yeah.
The people who actually lived the history of the time instead of just reading about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that totally as a compliment.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that's true. And I have known men who... went through all that stuff and everything, and they're like 50, 51, 52, and this has been like, 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was, and they said the best thing that ever happened in their life, they never had kids when they were younger, but the best thing that happened in their life is having a child when they're 50. And I'm like, what?
Tony Randall was like 70s when he had his.
And I asked him, what is that? How does that make you feel knowing that you're like a half a century old having a kid for the first time? And they go, it's the best thing. It is. Business wise.
Well, a lot of women say that too because they're older, they have more time, they're more settled with their careers and more settled with things that they want, and I've never been a woman who created drama for anybody. I mean,
no.
I am friends with the majority of my exes because they're the ones that created the drama. They move on and they realize, wow, okay, she wasn't, she was actually normal. So I'm actually friendly with the majority of them.
Yeah.
And because I'm very drama free. I really am. I'm very low maintenance.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
Yeah. My friend Tom, who
wrote the book.
He has another book out called Forever Me.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
For what?
Forever Me, and
okay.
It's a book geared around teenagers. It's a young readers, young teenage reader book, that kind of thing. And he became a grandfather at 45.
Oh, that's young.
And I told him, I said, what? Yeah, his son, who I, know because he used to work at Rayleigh's in Jackson, where I used to live in California. Rayleigh's, yeah, it was a grocery store, big chain on the West Coast.
I thought maybe you meant Rally's.
No, Rayleigh's. And so he had moved, his son had moved back to New Jersey, and now he's got like 2 kids. And I just talked to Tom the other day on Facebook, and he's doing really good and, all that. So it's like, man, and Tom's going to turn 50 in January. So it's like, holy crap, and I've known him since I was like 17. So we go back a long way. So when I look at people like that, and I look at my friends, and they're having grandbabies and all this.
Right.
I look at myself going, I don't have any stress at all with any of that because I don't have kids or anything, but I feel good for them. But they would tell me, oh, their life sucks because now they got the grandkids, or whatever, It's like, oh, my God.
I mean, my grandmother, she was 47 when she became a grandmother.
Yeah.
My brother. So that's young.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one good thing about people my age being grandparents is they really get to enjoy their grandchildren.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still hoping to have kids. I am. If I don't get to have them biologically, I have no problem with adopting from foster care because there are millions of kids who need homes.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't mind that. I mean, I don't mind at all. A young baby loses their family or whatever. Yeah, I don't mind. Or a young, 2, 3, 4-year-old. They
if
need
I
a
could
home.
find siblings, so I could keep siblings together, I would like to do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm like that with animals too. If there's like a family of dogs or 2 or 3 dogs that are
dogs that they'd like to have adopted together. Or
I would want
whatever.
that.
Sure.
Because that's just the way it is. But looking at this whole situation about kids and Halloween and dressing up and doing all this, I always wonder what kind of stigma the child has later on, looking back. If there was, like you said, you almost got hit by cars. I mean, does that somewhat affect them as they go out this time of year?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I went dressed up as Darth Vader, and I'm not trying to create a Death Star.
Yeah. No. Well, kids going out with costumes that they can barely see, and they almost get hit, and maybe a year or two later they're like, "Oh, I don't want to go down that street. I almost got hit." Does that weigh on a young kid? Even when the parents are there, does it weigh on them or something?
I don't think so. They're kids.
Yeah.
Kids are more resilient than people give them credit for.
Yeah. I've got somebody in the Spreaker chat. Hello there, Matthew. Hey, we're going to take a little break. I don't want to pass this one up either. I've only got 2 left. So, actually, I'm only going to play 1. So we can get out of here at the top of the hour. So, hey, we're in a total different direction on the Views Expressed today. It's okay because it's the Views Expressed. Whatever. But anyway, it's Friday too. So, yay. Thank God I'm not going to play that Rebecca Black song. Holy crap. So anyway, hey, you want to email me here? Go ahead. You can email me directly at the show at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. We shall return in a little over 3 minutes. Okay, so we shall return.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host, Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a Journey into Light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? Then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com.
Pay attention, son.
Well, howdy do. This is the Views Expressed for the Friday, 26th of October, 2012. How y'all doing on this Friday? Yes, we've, the first hour I talked about some stuff off of Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. And since it's Friday, I thought I'd steer it in a whole different direction. So I got the my other co-host for the show with no name, or the unnamed show, whichever one you prefer. It's okay. I have her on, Laura Clemens, right there on the thing there.
Hi, people.
Hi, peoples. Anyway, yeah.
Hi, friendly and stuff.
Yeah, you won't bite. You had your shots.
Well, even if I do bite, it's fun.
No, I mean, you had your shots. You had your vodka and, all that, so you're good.
Yeah.
It's fine. But anyway, yeah, we don't have that much time, so I want to I don't know. We can go anywhere. We do have a show. It's usually on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called The Unnamed Show. We talk about whatever comes off the top of our head. We do take calls for that show as well. And we will have the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show tonight, unless otherwise, notified on Facebook. But we will have the show tonight, which is in like a few hours, like 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. So if you're all awake over there on the other side of the continent, that would be good. But we talk about everything under the sun. I think the couple of subjects we talked about a little bit before the break was Halloween. But we may talk about that. We might talk more about some hauntings, some other things of that nature. And if you have a haunted house or a haunted location, things like that. And, of course, Laura, if you're awake, you can of course call in and talk about your experience living in a haunted house.
Yeah. He jokes with me every day because I'm in Michigan. I'm 3 hours ahead of him.
Yes. So yes, so we'll be talking about that as well. So coming down to the wire of this show, I also want to promote something that you heard the promo. I do voiceover work, so if anybody wants to hire me, I am available. And I'm pretty reasonable, folks. I'm not, just send your information to my personal address here, which is freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can do that. Or, as it said there in the promo, you can send it to Eastland Entertainment or Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. I don't want to say cheap because I don't want to sound like a whore, but,
Sound like?
It's just, I'm relatively inexpensive.
I bet you are.
There you go. See, I knew I was going to...
Kitty.
I knew I was going to get a razz out of you. At some point. You always like razzing me. Why do you like razzing me, man?
Because you're such an easy target.
Dude, like, go to California, and get on the waves out there, Anyway, God darn, smoke a bowl, Anyway.
Oh my God, stop. Oh my God, my cat is looking at me. I don't know, he might look like kibble or something.
Dude, just look at the cat and say, whoa.
Dude, I fed you earlier. You half dead.
Dude.
Yeah, he just wants some petting, that's all.
You're petting your pussy. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's all right.
Live on the radio.
Live on the radio. It's okay. Anyway, see, I do a lot of voices. It's kind of cool. Somebody asked me once years ago, because I used to do this stuff years ago, and just make people laugh and do different voices and stuff. And somebody goes, "Why don't you do that for a living?" I said, "I need to eat." But now, hey, I can do it, so it's okay. Yeah, I do voiceover work. I read very well. So, I mean, it's, you got a book you want me to read and put on tape. That's okay. I can do that as well. Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. So anyway, hey, we are going to have the Unnamed Show tomorrow night. We will let you know. It is at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. I almost said specific. I don't know why. That's why I paused. I went, did I say that? I don't know. So anyway, we'll talk about anything under the sun, and we will, as a matter of fact, we're going to have, I'm going to tell you how to get a hold of us, and you can call in and talk, and we usually have a couple of people in the chat room there on Spreaker. We have, and once in a great while, we'll have one of those folks call in. So, I mean, talk about anything under the sun, doesn't matter. We just, for those new listeners listening to this show, the views expressed, I usually, in the first hour, I talked about stuff going on at, that I have up at Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, but I'm usually talking about, I'm anti-New World Order, anti-tyranny, so I talk about everything on that side of it, and I give you what the news is and give you my opinion, basically, is what it is. That's what talk radio is. It's just opinions. That's what it is. Yep. So give you my view. And you can always go to the website for this show. If you're on the site here at Spreaker, where I broadcast from, hit the website link. Go there. I'm not always in that chat room on my website, but I have to make it a point to get over there because I've gotten emails from people going, "You weren't in chat." And I figured out they were on the website. And I tell people, if you're on the website, go to Spreaker.com and jump in the chat box. And so, anyway. But you have ideas for a show, do you not?
Oh, I always have an idea or two.
Yeah. So at some point, I'm going to have to fire up the old Spreaker DJ console here when you want to do a show and just have you do one. Oh yeah, that's right. You don't have your headset.
Yeah, well, it might be after Christmas before I can get that. Then, like I say, with my Social Security issues, I'm trying to hammer out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
A little less each month of my check until I get that worked out. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I've heard of other people having that happen to them, and they're like, what? No,
Well, it's not Social Security's fault. You know,
No.
It's state of Michigan because they're idiots' fault.
Yeah, well, look at who your governor is.
Well, no, he's not an idiot. He's just, he's not a politician. And sometimes it's a good thing, but he got elected saying he was going to run Michigan like a business. This is the same moron who ran Gateway into the ground and then sold it off to Taiwan. So.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Exactly. So.
Oh God. I remember the Gateway computers. Oh. Yeah.
I liked them because they had the whole cow print thing.
Yeah, you can still find them somewhere.
Yeah.
I went to Best Buy. I thought I'd find them over there, and they're not there. So anyway. So anywho, hey, we got like 3 minutes, so we'll get out of here, and Mother Nature calls. So So anyway, so what's on your plate this weekend?
Kind of, doing the health thing, still trying to, get myself, back on track where I was before, Mark came for the week and I gained 10 pounds.
Oh, my God.
I went to Weight Watchers today, stayed the exact same as last week, though, so that's good.
Well, that's good, yeah.
I would rather stay the same than gain.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
like I said, I had a pretty healthy lunch, and then I sat away from the food table at the Halloween party, and then, like I said, of course, I had to go and win and get a bucket full of candy.
Yeah.
But luckily, I'm not a big Snickers person. I'm not a big Milky Way person.
Yeah.
So those I'll probably just pawn off on, on somebody else or something. But I mean, there are a few in there that I really like. The Reese's are calling my name.
Yeah. 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 So it's I don't know. I need to lose a few pounds, I get on that when I go to the doctor because I got to go see him after Thanksgiving or see her after Thanksgiving. I usually step on the scale there, and for some odd reason, I'm 5 pounds heavier there than I am here at home.
Because they have so many people on those, they don't calibrate them very well.
Yeah. So
they'll do that sometimes, like with the Weight Watchers ones, and people are very, very PO'd. I mean, you think you got 100 people using it a day, you need to calibrate them a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. And once in a great while, I go and it's shut off, so they're like, "Oh, just turn it back on." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, we are gonna step away, and we're gonna go away now. So how can they? You've got a show called Mystical Cow Show, but it's not here on Spreaker yet. So how can they get a hold of you?
At Mystical Cow, all lowercase, mystical. Let me try this again. Mystical Cow at hotmail.com.
Mystical Cow at hotmail.com. Yeah, once in a great while. My lips don't work either. They can get a hold of me here at the Views Expressed at Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. And remember, folks, I always like to give people something to remember. So remember this. We the people have the power, for we are America.